What's up everyone? I am back. My exams are over for now, so back up and running with the moth traps and the videos, and as you can see, put out the moth trap last night. So we're going to see what we've got, and then I'm going to give you a few updates of what else is happening with my other animals. So let's get straight into it. Alright, our first species is a flame shoulder. Very common at this time of year. 2 broods a year. First one from the end of April to June, and second one later in the summer. Alright, one of everyone's favourites here. This is the Brimstone moth, Apisthographis luteola. One absolute stunner. A common moth, but one of the best, one of the absolutely most beautiful for sure. Really quite amazing. We also have another yellowy coloured moth. This is the Bufferman, Spilosoma lutium. You'll see that both these moths, their species names luteola and lutium, sound similar, and that's because lutium means yellow in Latin, and the buff ermine is called the buff ermine because buff is sort of another name for a yellow colour. And on the other side we've got 2 more buff ermine and a common swift. That's first for the year for me. Okay then, we have here a broken barred carpet. And even though this isn't the most common moth in North Yorkshire, I still catch it fairly regularly in May and June. It's a nice looking carpet. Okay, this is one of my favourites. This is the figure of 80. And it's easy to see why. Sort of got that whitish 80 shaped mark on the centre of its forewing there. Nice looking moth, one of the lutestring moths. Beautifully marked. Fairly widespread, fairly common. Mainly a woodland moth, but also turns up in gardens. Okay, this beauty is another Spilosoma species. This is Spilosoma lubricipeda, the white ermine. Another beautiful fluffy white moth with those black spots there. Awesome. Okay, so this is nice. This is a green silver lines. This is actually my first time catching this moth. It is fairly common, but just hasn't turned up in my garden for all the while I've been trapping, but it finally has. And it's an absolute beauty. Absolutely beautiful moth. Very nice, very pleased with that. Cockchafers, of course. The famous maybugs. Okay, so we have Acronic. This is either Psy or Tridens, so grey or dark dagger. And the reason I say this is because the 2 moths, those 2 species, are so similar that the only way you can tell them apart in the field is by genital examination, which I'm not going to do today. So I'll leave this one as an uncertain. Strangely, the caterpillars are quite different of the 2 species. The grey and dark dagger have very distinctive caterpillars, but easy to tell apart, but the moths themselves are pretty much identical. This species is a nice one. This is the Lichnus. Very nicely marked species, no particularly bright colours on there, but it's a very intricately patterned, very nice species there. Okay, final moth of the trap. And what better one to finish on than the gorgeous elephant hawk moth, Deilephila elpenor. You see that bright pink underside as it's being blown around by the wind there. Gorgeous olive and pink markings on the wings and down the body. And this is a very fresh specimen, so those colours really pop. This is the only hawk moth that was in the trap, but it's definitely stunning species. Absolutely wonderful. Absolutely amazing. Right, time to see what's going on with the other creatures that I've got. Okay, so our first update is this one. This is a Dailiphilia elpenor, elephant hawk moth pupa. And I don't know if you can see, but it's got pink bits on it, which means it's very, very close to hatching. So that should be hatching any day now. Okay, next update. These are my Surura vinula puss moth caterpillars. I've had these for a few weeks now from eggs, and they're now on third instar, feeding very well on this weeping willow. I have about 20 dotted about in here. There's a couple more down there you can see. Great species. Really looking forward to having these grow and turn into moths. One of my favourites for sure. And in these two containers we have another great species of moth. So this is one that I've never reared before. It's not a British native. It is a European species, actually the largest European moth. These are Saturnia pyri, giant peacock moth larvae, and some of them now are on second instar, growing fairly slowly. They hatch at the same time as the Surura vinula, but they do prefer higher temperatures. And they're feeding well on wild cherry at the moment. So again, I'm really looking forward to rearing these. They're a bit like the emperor moth, only about twice as big. They are proper huge, but a fantastic species once more. Alright then, looking like that'll be it for today's video. So if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and she'll be back with another video very soon.